Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Joint Stitches. So I am coming here today to see how your single crochets, double crochets, and starter chains are going. If you have been following along with the Hook Academy Studios playlist, which I will link somewhere up in this video, you will see that I have posted videos on how to do all three. Today I plan to do everything mashed up in one video together so we can just learn how to do the starter chain right into the single crochet and the starter chain right into the double crochet. These are very basic stitches to learn if you want to start creating other projects like your dresses, your baby booties, your hats, anything of the sort. You just need to know at least one stitch. So I am starting with the basics with you guys, and later down the line we will go into more advanced stitches. So grab your yarn, grab your hooks, and let's get going. Okay guys, so the materials that you will need are your yarn, of course, your hook. I'm using size K once again, just because it's bigger so you can see the stitches better, and your stitch marker so that we can mark the front and the back. There are two sides that you can use for the yarn. One side that comes right from the middle, and the other side that's wrapped around outside. I tend to use this side of the yarn. At some point I am going to try using the middle of the yarn for a project, just to see if I get less tangles. Comment down below if you have ever started your projects from the center. So we are going to start with making a slip knot. So you're just going to either wrap it around your finger and make an X, or just make a little circle like this and cross the yarn over on itself. You're going to take the long strand of yarn that's attached to the yarn ball, pull it through the hole, grab it, and as you're pulling that, you're going to pull the short side of the yarn to tighten everything up. Now I'm going to pull the short side of the yarn to make the hole smaller, just so our hook fits better into it. Okay, and I'm going to tighten it around my hook. We will start with our starter chain. So you're going to take the long side of the yarn, wrap it around the hook, and pull that strand of yarn through this hole right here. So I'm going to secure with my right hand, make sure the yarn is under the hook part, and pull it through the hole. And there you have your first chain. Okay? So we're going to continue, put the hook back through the hole, and we're going to wrap around again, pull it through. I'm going to make this loose so that you guys can see what we're doing. Once again, wrap it around the hook, pull it through. Around, pull through. So keep going, maybe do two more. Right, this is how you do your starting chain. Each chain pretty much is this little V here. This V is what we're going to work into. So now that we have our starter chain, we're going to do our single crochets. As you can see, where our hook's coming out of, that yarn is coming out of this V here. So we're going to skip that V and go into the next V. We do this so that we don't undo our chain. So let's put our hook through again. We'll skip that chain that is coming out of and go into our second chain here. We're just going to push the hook through that hole. We have two loops on our hook. We're going to take our yarn over and pull through the first loop. We have two on our hook. We will yarn over again, and pull through both loops. That is our first single crochet. We turn the chain here. You can see the V, that's the top of our crochet. Here is where we will put our stitch marker in. The top two, and lock that in place. Okay, now to continue, we can see that our single crochet is coming out of this hole. So to make the next single crochet, we're going to go into the next hole, the next V. So the hole would be right here. So let's put our hook back in place. And we're going to go through that next hole that I showed you. We have 2 on our hook, yarn over, pull through 1, have 2 more on our hook, yarn over, pull through both of them. That's our second single crochet. So we're going to continue down the line. So we're going to see our single crochet coming out of that hole right here. We're going to go through the next one right here. Right through that hole. We have 2 on our hook, yarn over, pull through 1, 2 on a hook, yarn over, pull through 2. If you turn it this way, you can see the top of all the 3 single crochets. Let's continue. Last but not least, we have 1 chain stitch left. Going to go into that chain stitch right through with our hook, 2 on a hook, wrap around, pull through 1, 2 on a hook, wrap around, pull through 2. So here's our first row of single crochets. We'll do another row on top. So since the single crochets are shorter stitches, in order to work the next row, we have to go up 1. So what we will do, just think of it as like a higher level. So we need to go up, okay? We're going to do 1 chain, simple chain, you guys. So wrap around, pull through our loop, and that's going to technically be our turning chain. So once we make that chain there, we're going to turn our work. We have to work the other way. We are now going to put our single crochet through this hole right here. If we turn it, these are the top of our stitches of the single crochet. That's our V. We're going to go right underneath those 2, just like that. Okay? That is where we're putting our next single crochet. So let's put our hook back through the hole, tighten it up, and we've made our chain, which is here. That's our turning chain. And the next one over is our single crochet, the top of our single crochet. So turning chain, top of the first single crochet. At the back, you see 2 lines pretty much, 1 and 2. 1, 2. This is the top of our single crochet. We are going to go right through here. Okay, we're going right under those top 2 chains on our single crochet. So we're going to go through here. Remember, we're not yarning over at all. We just have that loop on our hook, right through the hole, over those 2 chains. Then we will yarn over, pull it through both of those chains, which is the top of that single crochet. We have 2 on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our first single crochet. To keep your mark, you can put the stitch marker through that V, which is the top of the single crochet, or you can just count the stitches if you know how much is there. So now to the next, once again, we see the top of that single crochet, that V, turn it to the side, put your yarn right under those 2 lines. Yarn over, pull it through the 2. You have 2 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. It's your second single crochet. So we're going to continue. I'm going to go into that next hole, which is the top 2 lines of the top of the single crochet. Yarn over, pull through those 2 at the top of the single crochet. You have 2 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's continue down our row. Then we have our last stitch, which is why you put the stitch marker in, because it is hard to see. So we can remove the stitch marker, put it through the top 2 strings of the single crochet, wrap it around, pull through the 2. We have 2 on our hook, wrap it around, pull through 2. And there you go, our 2 rows of single crochet. So now that I've shown you guys how to do the single crochets, I will show you how to do the double crochets starting from the starter chain. I'm going to take this swatch out just so that you guys can see how easy it is to undo your project if you skip a stitch or have a stitch that's too loose. Just pull this yarn that's attached to the yarn ball. Simply just pull it out. Very easy. Okay. So now I will show you how to do the double crochet. We're going to start the same way with our slip knot. So wrap it around your finger and cross it over, or make a hole and make an X in the yarn. You're now going to pull the yarn that's attached to the yarn ball through the hole and pull. Pull using the short end of the yarn and your hole. Since this hole is too big for our yarn, we're going to pull the small end, tighten it up, and you're going to put your hook through the hole. Okay, so now we will be back to our starter chain. So once again, yarn over, pull this through the hole on your hook, and that's your first chain right there. So we're going to yarn over again, go through the next hole. Now we have 2 chains. You can see one V and the other V. Let's continue and do a few more. Wrap around the hook. I'm securing our chain with my left hand so that I can pull the yarn through the hole with my right hand that has the hook, just to stabilize everything. Yarn over, pull through, and over, pull through. We'll do one more. Yarn over, pull through. This is how you make your starter chain. So now we're going to do our double crochets. When we are working our stitches into a chain and starting our project, we have to build up. We're going the next row above. So what I am going to do is, since we're doing a double crochet, it is a taller stitch than the single crochet. So I am going to do 2 chains to kind of make up the same length as a double crochet. So let's do our 2 chains. Yarn over, pull through is 1. Yarn over and pull through for our second. This is our turning chain. So these 2 stitches that I just created, it's going to stand up like this when we do our second row. We just need the height so that when we start doing our double crochets on top of the chain stitch, it's equal size. So since we have our turning chain, which is 1 and 2, this second lower chain is coming out of, see if we can get a close up. It's coming out of this hole right here. You can see the bottom of this is coming out of here. Okay, 1 chain, 2 chains, it's coming out of here. So we are not going to work in this one. We're going to work in the next one over. In other words, our turning chain has 2, 1, 2. We are going to go over into this chain, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 from our hook. So let's see if I can explain that better. If we're preparing to do our double crochet, I have my hook through this hole. Right underneath is our starter chain, our turning chain, sorry. 1, 2. This is the same length as a double crochet. Because that second lower chain is coming through this stitch, we're going to go the next stitch over, which means this hole. And if we count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 from our hook. So in order to do our double crochet, we yarn over like so, and then we're going to go into our chain. So remember, our starter chain, our turning chain is 1 and 2. We're not going through this hole because that's where our turning chain comes out of. We go to the next one, push our hook through. We have 3 lines on our hook. We're going to yarn over again and pull through 1 of those lines. That line is our starter chain. We're left with 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2 left on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. And that is our first double crochet. If we turn our chain, this is the top of our first double crochet, and right beside it you see our turning chain, 1, 2. As you can see, it's pretty much the same length as the double crochet. Because we're working up in a row, we need our turning chain to be the same length as the stitch that we are going to make. So 2 chains typically equals the size of a double crochet. To continue, we see that our double crochet is coming out of this hole. So we are going to go into the next chain over, or that next hole, as you can see right here. So we'll put our hook back through the yarn. We're going to yarn over and put our hook through this hole. We have 3 on our hook, yarn over and pull through 1, which is our chain, stitch, we have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, and pull through 2. That is our second double crochet. Let's continue. Yarn over. We're going into the next hole here. Three on our hook. Yarn over and pull through 1, which is our chain. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over again and pull through 2. That is our third double crochet. Let's continue. As you can see, we have 2 more to go. And 1 more. Yarn over. Go through there. We have 3 on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 1. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. I love the texture that the double crochet gives. It's very stylish. Something that I will teach you down the line when we start doing projects. Our turning chain here, where we did the 2 chain stitches. Sometimes, depending on the project that you're doing, you'll see some other videos where they count this as a stitch, or they count this one as a stitch, your actual double crochet. So once again, this is the top of our stitch here. Okay? We are now going to build up onto this chain. So remember, when we're building up, we try to do the amount of chains that equal the same height as the stitch itself. Here we did 2 stitches. So since we're continuing with double crochets, we're going to do another 2 stitches. 1, yarn over, pull through again, 2. Because we are going to work this way now, I'm going to turn our project because I'm right-handed. So now we're going to go this way. So we have our 2 chains, and then we have the top of our double crochet that we made below. So we have 1, 2, and we're going to go through the top of this double crochet. So we're going to put our hook through that hole there. And as you can see, 1, 2, that's the V of our double crochet. So let's put our hook back in the hole, tighten it up, yarn over, find that hole at the top of the double crochet, put it right through there. Okay, now we're going to yarn over again, and all we're doing is pulling through those 2 chains that are at the top of the double crochet below. We now have 3 on our hook. We yarn over again, pull through 2 chains, yarn over again, pull through 2 chains. And that's our first double crochet in this row. Once again, yarn over, find the top of the double crochet below, which is this V here, and we're going to put our hook right through the top there. We have 4 on a hook. Yarn over and pull through the top of our double crochet on the row below. We have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That is our second double crochet. I'm going to continue. Yarn over, go through the top of that double crochet below, yarn over, pull through, we have 3 on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we are onto our last double crochet. You can see the V there. So yarn over, go through the top of that double crochet below. You'll have 4 on your hook. That's the top of that double crochet. Yarn over, pull through those 2. You have 3 on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over again, pull through 2. And there you have it. Your 2 rows of double crochet. When you make bigger projects, this is going to look gorgeous. I love the texture of this stitch. So in this video, I've taught you how to do your starter chain, your single crochets, and your double crochets, and how to work up to the next row. Try this out. Keep practicing. Practice becomes perfect. Sometimes you might have looser stitches, tighter stitches. Just work with the yarn, work with your hook, and figure out your tension. And then we can move on to more difficult stitches, projects, and mix and matching the single crochets and double crochets together to make its own pattern. So stay tuned, follow along with Academy Studios, and let's get crocheting.